In today's latest news, we have some massive updates around Pochettino as negotiations are currently advancing very quickly. But to follow on from this, we are currently trying to maneuver ourselves into pole position to sign Andre Onana from Inter Milan. And to follow on from this report, we have some massive updates around both Vitor Roque and Hojlund of Atalanta. So right now, tons of things are happening at this football club. Thank God this season is coming to an end. Mentally, spiritually, I'm already there in the 23-24 season, and I'm praying finally we do things right and finally build a proper team that is ready to compete now. So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions, hit that like button, let's get 2k likes, and don't forget to watch the preview for the Bournemouth game without wasting any more time. So right now, let's start with things and let's discuss the latest news around Mauricio Pochettino, because as reported by Mr. Matlaw, at this point in time, we are currently in advanced negotiations now to finalize a deal and hire Pochettino. And I think I have to say this, I think Pochettino has shown some great commitment to signing for us, because before we signed Graham Potter, we were holding conversations and meetings and talks with Pochettino. And when you compare how Nagelsmann reacted to our constant calls for discussion, communication and taking our time, compared to Pochettino, who's already been through a phase one, he's currently repeating those same talks again. I think it shows what this new board is looking for. A manager that has collaborative spirit. A manager that has patience, that will work with people, that will work with the structure. And I think it's this type of energy that Pochettino has demonstrated now throughout his entire coaching career. Now, we constantly just think about his times at Tottenham, but I also think he had a fantastic spell with Espanyol, as well as Southampton as well too. And I think throughout his career, he has shown that he is able to help transform a team. He's able to help transform a football club, to bring in his identity, to get his ways of management working. And those ideas are, attacking football, possession football, high pressing, high octane football. And I think with the talent we have in the squad, this is the best manager on paper that reflects the key strengths that our team currently has. And I think that's the most important thing right now. It's not about the names. Normally when you hire names, you must support those names. And those names might have different ideas, philosophies, strategies that they tend to need money to be spent on to get working. I think Pochettino is by far the most responsible one because he is available on a free. We aren't spending any more money now to go and hire someone, and knowing the fact that we don't have Champions League football, knowing the fact that we are kind of delicately skirting across these FFP lines, it makes sense not waste unnecessary money on a name, on a sexy name, and it makes more sense to hire someone that suits the best qualities that this team has. Right now, Pochettino has to give a green light towards a new goalkeeper, a new defense midfield player, and a new striker as well too. A name such as Harry Kane naturally are coming to the surface. I'd be incredibly surprised if we did anything for Kane, because I don't think Kane has the balls really to tell Levi, listen, no, I'm done. I'm going to Chelsea. Forget you guys. But names like Lukaku are being strongly considered as well too. And I do think that Lukaku does have good experience playing at the highest level. He does have good leadership qualities. And knowing the young squad we currently have, he could complement those types of young personalities and characters. And the important thing is that Pochettino is a massive fan of Lukaku. So it really depends on whether conversations with Lukaku will persuade him to come back to us again for the 4th time in a row and hopefully make something happen. In my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised that come the end of this month, we've potentially wrapped up Pochettino already. And I'm hoping that in the summer, I see Pochettino training the squad and we have an incredible pre-season where our fitness levels rise all the way to the top and we come back ready to try and get Champions League football again, because next season is going to get even harder. So that's the first story out of the way. Share your thoughts and opinions. Let's now move on to another breaking story today, and it's time we discuss Andre Onana. Now, over the past month, reports have been going crazy in Italy suggesting we are showing strong interest in signing Onana. And I guess for the first time now, a UK publication now is confirming these same reports. Right now, we are incredibly keen on signing Onana as the #1 goalkeeper for next season. And we're hoping to take advantage of Inter Milan's terrible financial situation by hopefully finding an agreement between €40 million or £40 million. The reports aren't that clear on the final offer, but if we do sign this guy, it's going to get structured anyways, so the currency differences don't really matter right now. Right now, Mendy is set to leave us. He hasn't agreed to signing a new contract extension. Club are open to offers for Kepa, But I mean, that's never going to happen because the guy is earning over 250k a week. So he'll probably stay here until his contract actually expires. Right now, Inter Milan find themselves in this year's Champions League semi-final. That's going to help them financially, but the thing they really need to do now is secure Champions League football for next season. If they do so, they won't be forced to sell key guys like a Barella or a Martinez or a Brozovic, etc, etc. So I guess in those terms, even though Onana is their number one, you can probably survive without him compared to losing out on a Martinez, etc, etc. Now, how do I feel about this story? I'm sure you guys know the answer. I am a very happy man. I am more than supportive of this move. In my opinion, as I've been saying, Onana has been the best goalkeeper in the Champions League. And I think this season at Inter, since he's won that first team spot from Handanovic during the start of the season, he's shown to be one of the best goalkeepers in Europe right now. And I think one thing I absolutely love about this guy from watching his game is the composure this guy brings out from the back. Now, I rate Mendy. He's dipped off a little bit. Kepa is good, but he's not great. We have lacked that goalkeeper that has that composure, that assurance that you need from the back. Like, he's the type of guy that if a defender or someone's under pressure, you pass the ball to Onana, and he has the composure, quality, and skill with his passing to kickstart another move. I think we don't really have a goalkeeper that kickstarts any moves for us, and we've not had that since Thibaut Courtois. It's no surprise that Onana is technically gifted because he has been coached the Dutch way, and not only is he a great shot stopper, great reflexes. For me, it's those intangibles, like the mentality, you know? He's a big game player. The guy steps up even more in the big games. And he's a winner. Like, for example, one of the things that is great about Onana is how he actually time wastes near the end. Most goalkeepers are getting yellow cards for that. Onana isn't. And it's just that type of gamesmanship to make sure that his team gets that win no matter what. The guy's a very competitive figure. And, you know, he has been on our scouting radars now for a very long time. And the reality is this. The reason why Onana now is being targeted as number one is because this transfer team, looking through all the data, comparing him to other goalkeepers, feel like he, by far, is the best option. And I have to agree with this. Inter Milan will think to themselves, why did we not start this guy during the start of the season? If they had done so, maybe Onana's going for 50 million right now. But regardless, I think that it's a very shrewd type of business move to try and take advantage of Inter right now. I'd be curious to see if this links him with Lukaku, because you think to yourself, listen, we're signing a goalkeeper that Inter signed on a free contract. That gives them tons more flexibility now with their accounting books. And if they get Champions League football, if they progress further in the Champions League too, they're going to have a lot more money and wiggle room. Could that maybe mean they have the finances now to maybe sign Lukaku on a permanent deal, who is also stepping up right now? Time will tell, but the reality is I think Onana is a great move, and I fully support this. So share your thoughts and opinions. How do you feel about this? And now let's move on to discussing strikers for next season. Now we talk Vitor Roque. Reports have come out from Sport in Spain suggesting that Barcelona may look to take advantage of signing Aubameyang on a free when we eventually release him on a free. And I say eventually because this story isn't necessarily new. We've explored the possibility of releasing Aubameyang on a free now because he's on incredible wages and he won't be getting any good transfer fee if you put him on the market. Now, the great thing about releasing Oba on a free is that this allows Barcelona to sign him as backup for Lewandowski. Oba was spotted with the Barca team like last month, and you're not there for no reason, right? And for Barca, this makes more sense because right now, their wage bill is an absolute mess. They have to sell players, some pretty big players who are on big wages. So being able to sign a free agent right now gives them tons of flexibility and allows them, of course, to improve the squad at the same time. Now, the benefit for us is that this should mean that their likely move to sign Vitor Roque is probably off the cards at this point in time. And this gives us a big opportunity now to sweep him and try and sign him. Because as we already know, as I've spoken about for a while now, his dad was doing a European tour speaking to all interested parties. And he spent some time in England holding talks with us, Arsenal, and a few others. But it does seem like Arsenal now don't feel the need to sign him. And that gives us basically a free run in this country. And I think Vitor Roque, listen, he's 18 years old now. I think the guy is growing really well. I mean, his goal scoring rate compared to when he was 17 is already exponentially improved. And I think obviously with Brazilian talents like this, I think when they go to La Liga, a more like technical league where they focus on like combination plays, playing on the ground, That's a good transition for these guys to get familiar with European football. But I think Roque has the physicality to probably do something in the Premier League. I think that's one of the reasons why we're looking at his profile in particular. And to be honest, he's the type of forward that I haven't seen in a while. He's unique. I think the last type of unique striker I saw was probably Nicolas Anelka. For me, Roque is like an Aguero style forward, a Carlos Tevez type of guy. Presses really well. You know, he can create shots for himself, very skillful, presses with intensity too. Like, he doesn't slack in those areas. There's lots of ticks in his game. Of course, what does this say for guys like Armando Broja, Dacho Fofana? I mean, what do you think? But with Roque, this guy could be like one of the leading European strikers for the next few years. But it's always going to come back to this point, and I'm actually going to focus on this point now in the second part. And I think right now, let's move on to discussing links around Rasmus Hojlund. And that's because Matt Law also reconfirmed the fact again that Hojlund is another target we're strongly following. So I think it's quite obvious now that Roque, Hojlund, either one of these two, these are the priorities for the summer. But what isn't absolutely clear right now is, do we want to sign like either an experienced striker for massive money, or if we can't get one, only focus on signing like, you know, a top class young potential talent? Or is the plan to sign an experienced guy and a younger guy at the same time? There's so many variables on show right now, I don't really have the answer. I'm only going to focus on what we know right now. And Rasmus Hojlund is someone that we've already held discussions with. And we first spoke to Atalanta's president when we played against Borussia Dortmund at home in the second leg. And it seems like the valuation for Hojlund could be around maybe £60 million, which isn't too bad. Or maybe it is a bit too mad, because the guy, for all his talent and potential, and the fact that as the season's ending, he's really stepping up right now. I think internationally, fine performances in the Nations League for Denmark. But the reality is also this: he hasn't been the number one first choice option at Atalanta. He's still young. You know, he came from Austria. He needs to still develop more. And at this age, it doesn't matter how much potential you have. If you don't have the game time and opportunities to really fine-tune your game, improve week in, week out, have the support of your manager behind you as well too, that will undermine your potential. And I think currently at this football club, over the past 4 years, I've only constantly seen us undermine youth after youth. And for me, the fact that Kai Havertz hasn't pushed on to the next level, that isn't an insult to Kai Havertz. That's a reflection on us for not having any structured stability or any type of football plan to get the very best out of his game. We've used this guy in tons of different positions. The pressure gets him as well too. It hasn't been the healthiest environment for young players to go to the next level. So I need some assurances that we're going to get the plan right for the next gen of young guys we're signing. Because for me, if you're Hojlund, if you miss a chance for us at Chelsea, the amount of media pressure and social media pressure you're going to get, all the fail comps, that type of stuff is stuff you cannot avoid in the modern game today. Players cannot do that. We have to be realistic. That's going to affect you in the next game going forward. Whilst at Atalanta, there's like a window of opportunity for you to play in a less pressurized environment. Listen, they still have to get Champions League European football. They're still there, but it's not on the same level as playing for like a massive club that has a ton of public eyes on them. Since I last spoke about Hojlund, he hasn't scored in the past 5 games, and for his minutes, he's started maybe like 2 games. He's been a sub for most of them. He's still a young talent. So my thing is, if you're committing to potentially making a move for him, I hope there's some footballing strategy on the top to realize, listen, we can't be signing this guy thinking he'll get us 20 goals a season. There must be a development plan, so by the time he's 22, 23 years old, this guy is achieving his potential. And if Pochettino is coming in, a guy that works with young players, improves them and takes them to the next level, with Harry Kane being his crowning like career-defining achievement, then maybe something can happen here. And then this stuff makes a lot more sense. But what I'm saying on Hojlund also applies to Vitor Roque, but I'd probably say that maybe Roque's development maybe is slightly a bit more higher, because he has played football at a professional level from a way earlier age more consistently. So they're my thoughts and opinions. They are today's news stories. So my friends, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Are you guys excited for the summer? Because I definitely am. And hopefully, for God's sake, this next season is the season we get right. I'm praying, Father, I'm praying. So my friends, on that note, I'm EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I got you guys later with some more videos. Cool.